Good morning and welcome to the EZFX Trading Room broadcast for Thursday, September 22nd, 2016. My name is Bradley Freed, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be joining me for an update of the list that we last updated on Tuesday. I apologize for yesterday. I woke up late and had some scheduling issues, and I was unable to do the broadcast, but we will get everything caught up today, and you are still receiving signals from me and signal updates, so you should be good. But if you have any questions, as always, please drop me an email or send me a private message from the community menu. All right, so let's start by reviewing where we were on Tuesday. We were watching a pound dollar buy, CAD yen buy, euro pound sell, pound Aussie buy, and pound Aussie buy. We were watching a dollar peso sell. Then our open trades were dollar CAD sell, New Zealand yen buy, Aussie dollar buy, New Zealand dollar buy, Euro Newsy sell, and Euro Aussie sell, right? Okay, so let's jump over to the charts and update our list. Okay, so let's start with the pound dollar. That's a good place to start. The trade is now open. We're watching that pair, and it finally did what we needed to do. We had a trend line break and a close above this trend line that I drew. In addition, we had Class A demand zone down here that was created by this divergence appearing inside the demand zone. We had this old buy bubble too, so I took that to be 3 points of confirmation. After it opened, it kind of moved sideways, and then it has since risen pretty significantly. So I'm hoping it will do pretty well. The targets are relative to this drop, the 50% Fibonacci retracement level and 78.6% Fibonacci retracement level. I would have used the monthly pivot, except for risk to reward was not sufficient to give us what we need for this trade. So I was a little bit more aggressive and used our Fibonacci option instead. So this trade is now open. I sent a signal out on this yesterday that you should have received. Okay, let's look at the CAD yen buy. That was the other one we had our eye on. This actually stopped out. It was rising and then it fell and hit the stop. So that is closed. There's really no retrade on this. There was an awful lot of volatility on the yen pairs this week. You know, I did have some good ideas, I think, and then the market reaction to the series of announcements from the Bank of Japan was very negative and drove price down into stops and whatnot. So we lost a little bit of money there this week, but I'm not too concerned about it. So this is a stop out. And it was also and on this one we had a breakout that kind of destroyed the risk reward, and after the announcement it dropped. And so I went ahead and took a trade right around here and sent a signal out because we had good risk reward. And I figured after the announcement it would probably stabilize and start rising again, but it kept going right into our stop. So that's how that ended. And so on that trade, we lost about I don't think it was 123. I think it was less than that. I think it was more like down here that we got in. So it was maybe 83. I believe it was. And that was a signal trade. So I'll go ahead and put 2 stars by it. So that's unfortunate, but we followed the idea that we had on the weekend, and when the trade popped up and we had a good entry opportunity, we went ahead and took it. So I don't think there's anything wrong there. It's unfortunate that we had so much volatility, but that's also what gives us our winning trades. So the important thing is that we contained the loss and moved on from there. I don't see any retrade opportunities on this pair right now. I did draw a new trend line, but there's just not a good place to put a stop that gives us and there's not good targets on this right now. So I would just stay away from it until we see something more like we're used to seeing for a winning trade. Let's look at the euro pound sell next. This is a trade we're watching. It still hasn't started, although we're seeing signs that it may be. I've drawn a second trend line under these wicks that seem to be running along the same line. We have a triangular moving average color change starting. We have a Class A supply zone, a sell bubble that's appeared, and it'll grow more pronounced if this pair starts to drop. If we get a drop and a close below both these trend lines, I'd like to sell this pair, target the monthly pivot, and maybe the weekly pivot down here. But we'll see how it goes. I'm still watching it. It's not quite ready yet. We have the pound Aussie buy. And this has kept dropping. It's still trending. However, we keep getting Class B divergence. I did draw a second trend line on a shallower angle along these wicks, which are in a line. So I think that's significant. If we get some more points of confirmation, right now it would be Class B and a trend line break. We could go ahead and buy this pair. I have noticed that other pound pairs are starting to move and starting to show their retracements. These are big opportunities. I don't want to miss out on them, but on the other hand, I don't want to get stopped out repeatedly either. So I'm waiting for the confirmation that we need before I'm going to take a risk on these pairs. So I'm still watching that. Pound newsy is actually open. This is a little bit different, and that's kind of interesting because that means that the pound Aussie may follow finally. The newsies had some issues with announcements this week that have driven the pair in different directions from the Aussie. So it started earlier, I think. Class A zone. We had a break of our trend line here. And so I got in. It moved sideways and actually retraced for a while. I thought it might stop out, but then it rose and broke through the second trend line I drew, just kind of confirmed direction. We have a triangular moving average color change now. Our initial target is this weekly pivot at 1.7984, and we're moving in that direction, making higher highs. So I like where we are right now with this pair. This was a signal trade. I did send it out as soon as I took it, as I always try to do. And it's open. Look at the dollar peso. Dollar peso also finally opened yesterday. I was able to get in it. It's a big stop, so I wasn't able to take a huge trade size on it, but I did take the trade, and that was really my goal. So we got in for a stop of about 227 pips. First target is this weekly pivot here at 19.3456 for 346. And the final profit target would be this next monthly pivot, which is between the 61.8% and 78.6% Fibonacci retracement levels at 18.709 for a final target of 983 pips. So we'll see how we do with this. I'm hoping we'll at least get to here and move the stop to break even, take risk off the table, and see how far we can get moving down to that other pivot below. But this is now open, and I sent out a signal yesterday on this that you should have received. Next, let's look at the dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is open, and it's finally moving. We actually hit our first target. We need to move the stop to break even, take partial profit on the trade. It's moving towards the final profit target at the 78.6% Fibonacci retracement level. I'm having trouble saying that this morning. So that's open, and it's moving right along. And I'll be sending out an announcement shortly about moving the stop and taking some profit off the table. Next, we have a New Zealand buy. And this trade, unfortunately, like the other yen trade that also stopped out, we got in here and it moved right along, and these wicks just hit the stop overnight and closed us out. And I believe we lost 53 pips on that, but I'll have to check. Double check and make sure that's correct. Next we have the Aussie yen buy. And this one, when all these other pairs were dropping and it got down here, I sent a loss cut signal out. I went ahead and just closed it out because we had a triangular moving average color change. All these other pairs, you know, the New Zealand yen, CAD yen, they were all dropping and hitting their stops. So I thought, well, why not just limit the damage by closing it out, especially since the triangular moving average changed color. I don't always do that, especially right near the entry price. But in this case, I did. In fact, it did recover, so I could have stayed in. But that's hindsight being 2020. At the moment, I thought that was the most expedient decision. So I closed that out for a loss of, I believe it was 45 or 47 pips. And that was a loss cut. So basically, all our yen trades, they didn't do anything for us this week because of this volatility. And it's been a very volatile week. It's been a tough week to trade, but we've actually been making money. So far, so good. And I believe we're going to end up having grown our accounts by the end of the week. They can't all be easy weeks. So this is when we can make money in a hard week. That means we're being skilled traders and we're following our rules. We're doing all the things we need to do to be profitable. Next, let's look at the Aussie dollar buy. This is within pips of its final profit target. It hit the first target. We moved the stop to break even, took partial profit, and we're almost to our final profit target. So it's still open, but it's almost in profit. New Z dollar buy. New Z dollar buy has been more reluctant. It did finally hit the initial profit target, so we moved the stop to break even. It may fall and stop out at break even. It's been not as, it hasn't had the same strength of direction as the Aussie has, but I'm going to hold on to it. We'll see if we can get higher, see if we can break through this new supply zone and start to move towards the second profit target. It's just going to take a while. This trade took several weeks, a couple weeks to get this far. So, and it is trending. It's just trending with these wide ranges and not a lot of passionate direction by buyers and sellers, just kind of swing trading this back and forth. So that's still open with the stop at break even and some profit taken off the table. Finally, Euro Newsy sell and Euro Aussie sell. Now the Euro Newsy sell, I did close this out. It hit its first profit target. It looked like it was going to move lower and get to the second. It retraced and started to reverse, and that was evidenced by a color change in the triangular moving average. So I sent out a signal about down here about when it hit the 38.2% fib level a couple hours ago. So we're out of this. And the maximum profit we achieved on this was the at the initial profit target, which was 176 pips. That's a win for 76 pips. And finally, Euro Aussie sell. This one actually went all the way. If I can find it. Oh, I know where it is. This went all the way, and now it's setting up a potential buy trade. So I think the profit, how much profit did we take on this? Let me just jump back to the blog real quick. Let's check the signals blog and see where we're at. I did change the menus a little bit to make it more compact. I think it's understandable. All the member content is under this member content, so signals and everything. Let's see. It was 45 on the Aussie yen, 83. Euro Aussie 311. So that's our best trade pips wise so far this week. Although the Aussie dollar is going to be bigger because the trade size was bigger. So we had 45. And we had 311. So we made some pretty good money on those euro pairs. Those were both good trades. Unfortunately, the newsy isn't behaving like exactly like the Aussie this week because of different economic announcements. So a little bit of a different situation. All right, let's just run back through and make sure I didn't miss anything. It has been a couple days, so that means that I have to make sure we're caught up. So pound Aussie, we're watching. Euro Aussie is now on the watch list for a buy trade. And again, this is just setting up on a new trend line. We have Class B divergence. We have a buy bubble forming. And if I get the confirmation that I need, I'm going to try to buy this pair in the other direction. Let's see, Euro Pound Sell. That was the other one. And these are really the only three that we're watching through the end of the week. I'm not really going to add anything new. I'm going to manage out what we have open and pending already on our list and our trade plan. Dollar peso is open. Pound dollar is open. Pound newsy is open. Dollar CAD, move stop to break even. Aussie dollar almost to target. Newsy dollar. Euro newsy's closed. CAD yen is closed. Newsy yen is closed. Aussie yen is closed. Okay, so that's it. That's where we're at. We are profitable for the week so far, and I'm hoping we're going to bring in a couple more trades that should raise that even more. I know it's been a tough week. There's been a lot of signal mails, but this is how it goes sometimes. And I'm happy when we can do that and we can be aggressive about following the rules and taking the next trade, the next trade, the next trade, and we actually end up making money, even though we take some losses in the middle. That's really what trading is like. And some weeks, some beautiful weeks, where we'll have a series where we just have a series of wins and maybe 1 or 2 losses, but we have like 8 wins and 1 loss or something like that. And that's just, it just seems easy on those weeks. But these are the weeks that are hard. And at least for making money, it's harder when you don't make money. When you do put in all that effort and all that time, and then you actually end up down a little bit, or you're drawn down a little bit. So I consider this to be a good week, and I'll be working hard to finish it out in the plus column. So if you have any questions, as usual, let me just jump back to the trading room. Please go ahead and send me an email or ask me a question via the community. You can always email me at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. I'm here for you, to help you, to answer questions, to give you hints or ideas about how to get past any issues you're having with your trading or the system or becoming profitable, or really anything you want to talk about. So we'll be back on Monday with a new broadcast. I do apologize for not being on yesterday, but I will be back on Monday with the next Trading Room broadcast. And of course, we'll be having signal updates up to market close and maybe some after that. And on Sunday, I'll be sending out the link to our new analysis report with our plan for the next trading week. So take care. Have a great week and a good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.